Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. We are 1 minute away from that market bell. Today we got to talk about Fed Chair Powell. Is he going to change his hawkish tone? A couple big events coming this week. So let's discuss what they are and how will markets react. All right, let's get started. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and make sure you follow my other channels as well. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The futures market look about even, and I just made the bell. There we go. Best bell in the industry. So today's probably going to be pretty flat. Well, I shouldn't say that because we do have one big event that's coming today, and that is the FOMC minutes. So this will discuss what was talked behind the scenes. Last FOMC meeting, I don't expect anything drastic to come out of it because these days, basically everything that's discussed behind closed doors is released during the press conference, and the reporters are really good at trying to get stuff out of Powell. So really these days, not much is hidden. That is coming right around 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. But the big one that we're worried about is the CPI data that's coming tomorrow. Okay, so we are still getting a little bit of data that shows that inflation may not be behind us. So this morning, wholesale price, this came out and rose 0.4% in September, more than expected. So, I mean, stuff like this is not good. People are guessing what CPI data is going to come out tomorrow. Core inflation, overall inflation. Are we still in an uptrend? Have we peaked? Are we starting to come down? Well, if you're looking at stuff like this and you look at how much people or how much wholesalers are paying for their goods, how much people are paying for goods, and they're still on the uprise, well, that shows inflation has not peaked yet. But this is just only one category. So tomorrow we will see what is going on in the U.S., right? What is going on in the U.S. Now, ahead of that big CPI reading, President Biden came out and said he doesn't think there will be a recession. And if so, it will be very slight. Again, I don't know what definition he's using or what definition anyone is using in the U.S. that's declaring that we're not in a recession. We definitely are. There's no definition that bases recession on, I don't know, unemployment and stuff like that. Those are like the after effects. Recession is defined by how many two consecutive GDP quarter results going in a negative direction. Basically, the economy is slowing down for 2 quarters. Basically, that's what it means. That's the official definition. So we're definitely in a recession already. Now, previous recessions, the aftermath is, well, you have unemployment go up, you have jobs that's just being canceled, right? People are very, very poor and they're not going out to spend, they're not traveling, stuff like that. I get it, but we are in a technical recession. It's just a matter of, is it going to get worse? Is it going to get much worse, right? But we're still seeing a lot of officials and the president saying, we're not in recession, and maybe we go into recession. So I don't know. There's still some confusion there. But again, he thinks that if we do go into recession, it'll be very, very slight because everything is still okay. And I just covered about Janet Yellen last night. She's saying that everything is okay too. So we have all these officials coming out saying everything is okay. But are we really okay? Well, it depends. I think it depends on what Powell does with his next rate hike. Is he going to be very hawkish, or is he going to reverse his hawkish tone and become more dovish? Because a lot of people have been telling him to stop it, really. The UN, just to give you guys a summary, UN recently came out and said, hey, Powell, stop raising your rates so much because the world is on the brink of recession. The world, not just the U.S. The IMF also says that the worst is yet to come, that the world is going to slow down and enter recession, again, due to countries like the U.S. that keeps raising rates. So we have the UN, the IMF, telling Fed Chair Powell to cool it. We also have Jamie Dimon as also warning about recession 6 to 9 months, saying this is very serious. Again, pointing his finger at Fed Chair Powell, saying that his method of curbing inflation is not the right way to do it. It's not going to work. It's just going to plunge everyone into the unemployment line. Well, that's not what he said, but you guys get my drift. Basically, he's making everyone broke, and that's not the right way to do it. And even recently, Cathie Wood issues an open letter to the Fed saying it's risking an economic bust. So as you can see, everyone is getting sick, and especially in investors, you and I and everyone else, is getting sick of this notion that somehow good, strong economic data is bad for markets. That if we expect good data, markets sell off. We expect bad data, markets sell off. Like everything is leading to markets selling off. And it shouldn't be like that. And is the rising rates, the continuous rising rates, I should say, is that really helping to solve inflation? Is it really curbing demand? And if you do it too much, will it put the U.S. in a worse position? Right? That's what Cathie Wood argues. She's saying forget inflation. We're going into deflation / depression if we keep going this route. So all eyes will be on Powell. And how he interprets the CPI data that comes out tomorrow, right? If CPI data shows that maybe inflation is going down, but not as much as he wants, how's he going to interpret that? Is he going to change his tone coming in a couple weeks when the next FOMC meeting comes out? Don't know. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. We're all in for a ride, that's for sure. And there's something else I got to talk about with Bitcoin that does indicate explosiveness that's about to come. But before I get to that, the DXY is still high, 113.34. It could be because of, it's due to a couple things. But U.S. mortgage interest rate is the highest level since 2006. So right now, basically no one's buying a house or building a house other than me, and you could say that's stupid because a 30-year fixed mortgage is now at 6.81%, closing in at 7%, and this time next year, who knows where it'll be. Maybe it'll be like back to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%. Now, I've talked to some folks that are a little bit older than me, and they're telling me, yeah, I remember back in the day when I got my house, it was like 16% interest and 14% interest. And yes, that's much higher, but back in the day, houses cost $40,000, $50,000. They don't cost $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. So there's a slight difference there. But yeah, this is still going upwards. I don't know where it's going to end, but we got how do you say it? We got 14 years of low interest. People have gotten used to those levels. So now we have these ultra high mortgage rates. The good thing is this will probably keep most people in their homes. So this will probably keep the supply low out there. So if you're in the U.S., most likely you're not going to see a surplus of inventory, at least not yet, because people are staying put with their low 2.75 or 3% interest. But if Powell has his way and continues to make people more and more broke, then, yeah, people may start losing their homes, and we're going to see the repercussions of that. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. All right, what else is going on? Well, I was going to try to bring this point up, why the DXY is still high. I covered how the Bank of England, their governor, told all the pension funds, hey, you have 3 days to balance because our emergency gilt buying in the UK is going to stop in 3 days, approximately Friday. So they even came out and told the pensions, if you have a ton of gilts or bonds, sell it off now while we are still buying. That's what he's saying. You don't even have to read in between the lines. He's saying, sell it off right now while we are still buying, because if you sell it off afterwards, you're going to lose a ton of money, right? And now the pension funds are coming back and saying, no, we need more time. So now they're trying to pressure the Bank of England to extend their emergency gilt buying beyond Friday. And I don't know if the Bank of England is going to do that. But again, it's a bad situation overall in the UK right now. And this is on the heels of a new prime minister taking office and announcing all these tax cuts, not rate hikes, not rate cuts, tax cuts. And no one knows where the money's coming from. And no one knows where the money's coming from that will be buying all these gilts and bonds. No one knows. So this is the reason why the pound is still weak, the DXY is still strong, and yeah, there's that. All right. Now, as for Bitcoin stuff, well, Grayscale is taking the battle to the SEC. So they are suing SEC for discriminatory reasons, saying that they allow Bitcoin futures ETF, but do not allow spot ETFs. That's discriminatory. And plus, they basically feel like Gary Gensler has no idea what he's doing. So yeah. The U.S. is still one of the only countries left that does not have some sort of spot ETF or spot ETP, and you're seeing it all around the world. Our neighbor up on top, Canada, has their many ETFs. Australia has ETF. There's many countries in Europe that has ETPs, which is basically, essentially, it's very close. It's an exchange traded product, but a lot of them are, they do hold on Bitcoin. Here's another one. 21 Shares brings a Bitcoin ETP to the Middle East. So worldwide, we're seeing it everywhere except in the U.S., and Grayscale is sick of it, and that's why they are attacking the SEC. So SEC has a lot of battles that they are fighting right now. But as for Bitcoin, a couple interesting things. Number one, people have noted that the open interest with futures is skyrocketing right now. And whenever this happens, explosiveness occurs shortly. But we don't know if the open interest is long or short. This is just measuring open interest. So there's definitely a ton of people that are loading up something in anticipation of something. And it could be this big CPI data report. Okay? If CPI data goes down, inflation, it shows inflation has peaked, then maybe we get that explosiveness, right? Maybe we get some massive short squeezes going on. But if CPI data comes in horribly and inflation is still rising, well, then we may get the opposite. But there's something brewing going, something's brewing. Something's going to happen. So watch out for that. And but here's someone marked Bitcoin trajectory since last June till now, and you could see if you compare it to the Wyckoff pattern, it's very, 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 very similar, right? So Wyckoff accumulation pattern is basically what the whales, what they do in terms of driving people out and accumulating, and you got to admit the two does look very, very similar. And this correlates with that futures open interest because we're at that point where accumulation is just about to start. Interesting. All right. What else is going on today? Mango market. You guys heard that Mango was hacked for 100 million recently. Now it's very strange because the hacker is now offering to return 70 million out of the 100 million that they stole, but he's saying that he will only return it if the DAO and the people that are voting will not pursue criminal investigations. And what's funny is he decided to vote and cast 33 million votes. So the hacker basically voted yes to this vote, basically, so that he will not be pursued with any criminal investigation. It's just really weird. It almost seems like it's not a hacker. It almost seems like it's someone else, like SBF, and SBF just went on a crazy Twitter rant storm, Twitter storm, 23 posts about oracles and why this happened and stuff like that. It almost seems like he has inside knowledge of exactly what occurred. SBF just seems like he wants to take over everything. Anyways, so this all stemmed from basically bad price data, bad Oracle. It seems like Mango does not use Chainlink. Another reason why all DeFi projects and all projects out there should use a reliable decentralized Oracle network like Chainlink and not try to do their own Oracle, because it usually leads to bad things. All right, and then that's pretty much it. Lastly, this has nothing to do with crypto, but I did see this. Peloton's co-founder and ex-CEO faced repeated margin calls from Goldman Sachs as stocks slumped. So this is one of the dangers when you put your stocks or your Bitcoin or anything as collateral, because there is a chance to get margin called. And this is why I always warn against people not to do it, because you never know when something goes down. So this guy seems like he's in trouble because Peloton is doing absolutely horrible right now, and no one wants to buy their bike post the pandemic. So yeah, he's probably going to have to repay a lot of what he borrowed. Anyways, just a warning for you guys. All right, so market opens slight green today. That's good. We have the FOMC minutes coming out in a couple hours, about 3 hours. No, 4 hours. And then we'll get that big CPI data report tomorrow. Bitcoin is still holding at 19.1. That's good. Entire market cap up slightly. That's good. All right, let's do some Q&A here. Can you talk about Google accepting crypto through Coinbase for their cloud service? I did already. There's not much else to say. Yeah, they're taking it. I think the story's overblown. I think Google has always been it seems like they've been very pro crypto, making a lot of partnerships, but really what they're trying to do is just expand their Google cloud. So it's more of that than anything. I don't know. I think it's not bad, but I don't think it's like breaking news. Logo on my center basketball court. I have no idea. No idea. One Takes Studio. I don't know if you're just quoting or just making points. No clue. Let's see here. Central North Carolina housing market is still insane. If you want a single-family house in Chapel Hill, prepare to pay $500,000 easy. I mean, it's everywhere like that. To get a decent house in a decent neighborhood, you're talking about like, yeah, $500,000. That's pretty normal. Everything has gone sky high. Even though mortgage rates have come up and demand is going down, no one's really trying to sell their house right now, right? But if it does happen, well, then we can get prices. We could see prices drop significantly. Zinni says XRP will explode soon. Keep waiting, man. If they win that SEC lawsuit, yes. GRT FUD graph. I haven't heard of graph FUD. Well, what's going on with the graph? $20 years ago, you live in a $500,000 house, you were pretty wealthy. Yeah. I mean, everything went sky high within the last 2 years. We're not even talking about the last 20 years. I mean, really just last 2 years. I mean, the perfect example is my friend. He purchased a home, for like $240,000, and he sold it for $440,000 in 2 years. It's almost doubling. And that house is probably still worth $440,000. Maybe it came down a little bit, $420,000, but still it's way higher than 2 years ago. So that's the reality, is everything has gone up so much. It's just really tough. It's really tough for people, I don't know, young adults that's looking to buy a home. Basically, it's unaffordable unless you have a crazy job, crazy good paying job. It's getting to that point where it's just really, really hard to afford a home. That's why so many people are looking to rent now, or tiny homes. They're getting popular because of it, I think. Hi, George. Is rally dead? I don't think it's dead. It's still continuing. It's just that no one really paying attention. I thought rally had a lot of promise, and they were doing well during 2021. But right now, they kind of pivoted to NFTs. No one's really caring about that. These tokens that they created for others, no one's really paying attention to that. When there's a bear market, people just don't pay attention to a lot of these promising projects because ultimately they're still very early. NMCT, how did it feel surviving a crypto winter and finally achieving financial freedom? A lot of us healthcare workers are burnt out, ready to retire. Hey, of course it feels good afterwards, but just know that during it sucks. It really sucks. I mean, it seems like it's been forever because things have started coming down since November, December, so about 10 months. But keep in mind, when 2017, the last cycle, when things popped and things came down, we didn't see anything happen for 3 years. 2018 was bad. We had a little rise, but then, it tanked. Now, I shouldn't say that. 2018, we didn't have a rise. 2019, we did. But 2018, end of 2018, we finally found that true bottom. 2019, we had a little of rise and then a fake out right back. And then 2020, we also didn't see much. I mean, we saw like 3 years of down. So you have to prepare for the fact that it could last that long. But things are not nearly as bad as before because everything is like 10 times higher than before, right? So that's the thing. But right now, we're going through a time crypto has never, ever, ever seen before. Recession. We had never seen Bitcoin and crypto enter a recession. This is the very first time. And even though many would argue that it's not doing well in recession, but I still look at the fact that you look at something like Ethereum holding at 1,300 versus $80 back in 2020 and 2018. So I would say that's a pretty good hold, right? Despite the fact that it did come down from like 4,000 or 5,000, but it's still many times higher than where it was just a few years ago. So crypto has come a long way. The space has definitely matured a lot, but it's still very early. And with every cycle, we're going to form new highs and new higher lows. And we're going to keep going until the market becomes so big one day that there will be an uncoupling or decoupling between, say, Bitcoin and NASDAQ. It's just, it hasn't happened yet, but eventually it will. Do you think it's a good idea to buy Ripple shares? First of all, there's no shares. But if they do go IPO, and they actually have Ripple shares, and we're not talking about XRP tokens, but actual shares, I think they'll actually be a pretty good buy. They're actually pretty healthy as a company. It just goes against what other projects do, right? Ripple is still collecting most of their money by selling XRP tokens, not so much from services. And that's not what anyone else does. But Ripple as a company seems like they have endless money. And I guess it's good because they're able to keep the battle going with SEC. Otherwise, they would have caved in a long time ago. All these people saying there is Ripple shares. They start offering shares already. I thought they were going to go IPO after the lawsuit. Well, whatever. It's some weird version of shares, but I would say they're probably going to be a good hold. Okay. When will Chili's release their American sports fan tokens into the U.S. market? Probably never because of the SEC. They're not going to, because they probably are securities, even though they're not supposed to be, but people are buying them, trading them for profit, basically. So Chili's in the U.S. go operate very differently. They could come out with reward systems and NFTs and stuff like that, but I don't think they will come out with tokens for American teams. Zilliqa Web3 play to earn console. That just sounds like a horrible idea. There was another project. I forgot which one it was. Back in 2017, 2018. Yeah, they made a big deal like how they were going to come out with some kind of console / TV box or whatever. it failed miserably. So no, Zilliqa does not need a play-to-earn console. No one's going to be playing it. No one's going to be using it. They need to just concentrate on bring more dApps or maybe play-to-earn games within their chain, not trying to come out with some physical hardware. I guess basketball cards are securities. You know, that's the thing. I had this talk with my friend, and a lot of things that are being done in baseball, basketball cards, same thing like crypto, but because the market is much smaller, no one's paying attention. You know, with baseball, basketball cards, you could also put down your cards as collateral and borrow against them, right? That's something that didn't exist before, but that's happening. There's also funds coming out tracking certain cards, and you could pool cards together and buy fractional like shares of it. There's so many things coming to sports cards now that no one's really paying attention. But if Gary was, he would probably declare a lot of these companies, I don't know, securities or participating in illegal security offerings. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Didn't Charles have a Twitter meltdown? I mean, Charles is a young, old-looking guy. He gets frustrated sometimes. He lashed out at XRP Army, and yeah, he had several outbursts before, but that's okay. Like baseball movies, a jewelry company could pay you $1,000 to watch 10 of them. What is that about? EV maker Lucid confirms on track to meet conservative 2022 production numbers. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash all crashed recently because there's talks about making all the people that work for them as contractors as employees, so then they have to offer like health insurance and days off and stuff like that. It would absolutely kill all of them if that happened. So I don't know who thought that was a good idea. SEC will overreach ETH in the dark now for a while. Other countries not want to touch it due to SEC regulation by enforcement. Okay. I think you're talking about how SEC really wants to attack Ethereum, and if so, other countries don't want to embrace Ethereum because of it. Maybe. I don't know. I think Gary just said it just to try to as a desperate attempt to try to win the Ripple case. I think that's it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a terrible idea. Drive for Lyft, according to Corey. Yeah, I think it would kill them. I mean, all these gig service companies, I mean, they depend on, people that just wants to come in and out. It's really easy. Anyone can become a driver, DoorDash driver or Uber driver, and they don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that normal companies do. But if they do, I think their profitability would just get killed. And plus, a lot of drivers, I don't think they want to be categorized an employee because there's probably certain stipulations that you have to work like 40 hours a week or 25 hours a week or something. I don't know. So Uber let's look at 5 days ago. See, this is when it was announced. Uber just dropped off a cliff here. I mean, recovered somewhat, but it was around, yeah, 27. Now it's 25. So it seems like they're a little bit better. Let's do DoorDash. DoorDash is up today. Yeah, they had that nasty fall, but things are coming back. Maybe it's just rumor. Maybe it's not going to happen, but I think that would kill all of them. What do you think about Cosmos growth on the future? For the future, I like Cosmos. I like Cosmos a lot. I read there's a new stable coin that's coming out for Cosmos. They're still expanding, bridging with other chains, and still growing their DeFi ecosystem. These are all good stuff. So I like Cosmos. Yeah, they're sitting at 22. Intel announced 20% layoffs. That's actually not a surprise. AMD is so strong now. Intel, I don't know what they're doing. 52-week low today. Well, not good. Yeah, they've been trending down for a whole week, for the whole months, for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. I mean, this is brutal. Yeah, so they peaked right around here, March or April of 2021, and since then it's been a ferocious sell-off. They're 103 billion. I think AMD surpassed them. $103 billion. Oh no, AMD. They did before, but now they're a little bit under 92 billion, but they're pretty close, neck to neck. But Nvidia is still leading the way. Likelihood of a dump tomorrow or pump? I don't know. I would say it's 50-50. Really depends on what the numbers come out to be. Are we seeing, you know, a top to inflation, or are we still seeing it go up, rising up? It really depends on what the numbers come out tomorrow to be, and no one really knows at this point. We did get a little clue this morning with wholesale prices still going up, so that's not good. Should I DCA my lump sum into BDC or wait for a market pullback? I mean, what more are you waiting for? We already had a market pullback from 70 down to 19. So, are you waiting for 5K? Well, if so, then keep waiting. But when you DCA, you don't just put a lump sum in. You do it over time so that if things do get cheaper, you can buy more. So that's what I would suggest, to kind of spread out your buys. All right, guys, I'll let you go. To conclude, what is Powell going to do based on the data and based on what all these guys are telling him, which is to stop it, stop raising rates, right? But I think tomorrow and even later today, we'll get a little hint, I guess, with the FOMC meeting minutes coming out, and tomorrow, of course, CPI data. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, but tune in tonight. We'll talk about this some more, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. And since so many people asked about XRP, I have to show this.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.